Wars always start something could have been solved simply. War is a human tradition, testing our survivability time to time. And it always meets you the most unexpected time of your life. This is a comprehensive analysis of fifth-generation guerrilla warfare, from the two modern-day masters, who lead and won and defeated. Repeat again, this is comprehensive analysis, not a promotional material, or find right or wrong. Previously we laid out main reasons for the Sri Lankan conflict. Two prominent person on this conflict. How they got involved officially and unofficially into this bloody conflict. Geopolitics, international politics and economics, of that timeline. Moving on. In a government ceremony, a truck full of ex-military personnels parading and saluting. Crowded noticed one veteran with a maroon beret, standing in the last row of the vehicle. As he was handsome for the age. Social media go on to find out who is this handsome old man, in a commando beret. Retired Regimental Sergeant Major Regional Fernando. Later he got an interview on a famous Sinhalese YouTube channel Wanasa TV about his war experience and operations he had participated. It's a decade-long war. Why this commando veteran is important for today's episode. Because he was one of a commando member who participated, raid on capturing, one of a most closest ally and a first-generation leader of the LTTE. Charles Lucas Anthony, or Charles Anthony. Or call sign Seelan. According to Commando Reggie, his unit was assigned to undercover surveillance operations in the peninsula in 1980. As student protests turning into more and more violent day by day. Several police and military personnel were shot and weapons were picked up the protesters. Police stations were raided robbing weapons. Government knew things getting out of hand. There were many fractions among the anti-government movement. Some were armed with farming guns and domestic-made weapons. And some just unarmed political groups. We will come to various groups and its timeline in the next episode. Commandos were using information within the Tamil communities, who is not approving armed conflicts. Especially those middle-aged working-class people and businessmen did not accept attacks against government personnels. Some cases successful Tamil businessmen were murdered by the protesters assuming they support government. Commandos got the exact information about the Seelan's location and raided the location. But Seelan was not there. Unfortunately, while commando team heading back to the camp, they came across the Seelan and his three mates Anandan and two other unknown members of the LTTE. Seeing military personnel coming into their direction, three men panicked. Seelan assuming army is coming to arrest them. Three men dropped out from the bikes, grabbed short-length rifle. Run across the rice farm. Commandos fired warning shots shouting three men to surrender. Knowing there is no way of surrendering to government military. Seelan fired back on the commandos. Commandos returned fire on Seelan and the men. Seelan and Anandan was shot and fall on the rice farm ground. Seeing Seelan has fallen, two men ran back and pick up the gun in the middle of the rain of bullets by commandos. After recovering the gun, two men disappeared beyond the fences. Yet commandos are not knowing it was Seelan. They pick up the two bodies, hand over to the police. Later government doctor confirmed it's Seelan and Anandan. However, LTTE had bit of a different version of this event. It's not three men, it was four men. On July 15, 1983, at 3 o'clock, the Sinhalese army surrounded Masala area where four militants, including Seelan and Anand, were staying due to the betrayal of a traitor. A minibus, two jeeps and a truck were surrounded by more than 100 plainclothes Sinhalese army operatives. Realizing this, the four militants fired their guns and tried to break the siege and escape. The army was stationed inside the palm grove to stand outside. The struggle continued unabated. In this situation, one of the Sinhalese army's gunshots had flowed into the chest of Seelan. But he did not die. According to the LTTE tradition of not being captured alive by the enemy, Seelan orders the other fighters to shoot me and retreat with weapons. This is the LTTE version of the event. Considering the primitive weaponry, at that time in the commando's hand, it was basically 9mm pistols and 9mm submachine guns. Very less accuracy, especially on a moving target on a farmland. Commando Reggie go on to mention, if Seelan just passed by as normal villagers they would have not noticed. Just because they dropped the bikes and ran. Commando stopped by and checked. This incident is the linchpin of the Sri Lanka's bloody war. This is the point of no return of this long conflict. Google Charles Lucas Anthony, the rap sheet is not clean and innocent. Seelan was a top-level military leader at the organization. One of a trusted friend of Prabha, Karen. Losing his one of a leading comrade Prabhakar on plane for the revenge. We will see what he planned next.